In this episode of Go Beyond Busy, Christine speaks with Kathy Hadizadeh from Los Angeles, founder of Heart Mind Tuning. Kathy works with leaders and business owners to improve strategic performance while protecting themselves from burnout. The conversation looks at why knowing your why matters in business, how busyness can become a nervous system problem, and how clearer focus can lead to better results.
Hi, I'm Christine from Go Beyond Busy. I'm here today with Kathy Hadizadeh, who is in Los Angeles in California. She runs a business called Heart Mind Tuning. How are you today, Kathy?
I'm doing fantastic. Thank you so much. And thank you for having me, Christine.
Very good. So tell me, Kathy, what have you learned about running a business that you wish you'd known earlier?
That's a very good question. I have learned a lot, but maybe one of the biggest things is how having a vision and knowing your why is so important to keep you steady on the journey of entrepreneurship and having your own business.
But how do you go about having a vision? Where does that come from?
The one thing that I have noticed is that a lot of people get excited about the idea of having a business. They have a vision, some of them, or they have been able to observe a need within the society. And they are tending to answer that need, which is a great way to go about a business. However, if you are not in a position that you have really researched beyond meeting a need, what is the bigger call out of all of this? What is the impact of meeting that need on humanity, on yourself, on your soul, on the legacy that you wish to leave in this world? Then when the going gets tough, which definitely any business will experience it, no matter how big or small they are, then there will be a time that you will have a hard time getting out of the bed in the morning and feeling jazzed about continuing with the journey.
So that's where knowing your why comes in. Is that right?
Yes, that is one of the places that it comes handy. It's not the only place, but that's definitely one of the places.
So how do you go about working out what is your why?
My own story is I arrived at the idea for this business out of a journey. I was a corporate executive for Fortune 100 companies, so I was more of an employee with an employee mindset. And then it happened that I experienced with too much busyness, maybe talking about being busy, that my brain decided to shut down. So I experienced an injury which was exacerbated, in my opinion, by the burnout that I did not have a name for the burnout at that time because we were talking about 10 years ago. And burnout and the terminology probably hadn't become this mainstream at that time. And during my healing journey, I came up with the idea and the vision for the business that I funded 2 years after my injury. So I arrived at it, but based on the journey of my life, because it did not happen overnight. It was that I had been in the corporate world for 15 years and I had seen a lot or enough to give me ideas for another chapter of my life.
Tell me about your business and what do you do?
So in my business, we offer executive leadership, coaching and advisory to corporate leaders to elevate their strategic performance for themselves and for their organizations, while keeping an eye on the leader as a whole person so they will not experience the burnout that I experienced.
So does this only apply to people who are running great big Fortune 100 companies, or can it apply to small business owners as well?
No, I have clients who are small business owners as well. I especially have clients who have been with the corporate world and desire to go a different route and create their own economy And we look into what is possible, what are the transferable skills, what is the vision, what is the why. And I help them go about building a foundation before putting any capital or jumping into a path that they are not very certain about. So I have clients like that too.
And do you work with people worldwide or just in Los Angeles?
No, I've worked with people worldwide. Majority of my clients are from Northern America, especially from US and Canada. Obviously, the time zone is more convenient, and I know the landscape of the business in this continent very well. But I also have served people in Europe and people in Southern America and some people in the Middle East.
So tell me about the concept of busyness in business.
So the thing is, when you are in the business for yourself, one of the things that you experience all of a sudden, or maybe gradually, that you are responsible for a lot of things, maybe more than you had imagined initially. And that can be a daunting situation. And people will start using the word, I'm busy, I'm too busy. And they forget about the fact that the busy is not always a time problem. Yes, of course, there are only so many hours in a day, but sometimes the word being too busy or business can be a nervous system problem.
Tell me more about that. What do you mean by a nervous system problem?
Especially when you have your own business. There is something that a lot of people experience, which is shiny object syndrome. Everything can be a new avenue for a revenue stream, or it can be a new lead generation mechanism, or it can be a new marketing thing, especially with the advent of AI. And there is all kinds of AI based apps, and they are offering that they can do some sort of a magic. And before you know it, you can be pulled into all of these directions, and exploring all of these things can be very taxing on the time, on the nervous system. On the pocket may be the last of the items, but on the nervous system. Why? Because imagine you have spent this much money and you are interested to really use that, but you possibly cannot use 10, 12, 13 of these apps at the same time, learn them, master them, fully be able to use them, or even delegate somebody in your business to do that. So what happens is that you become frustrated with yourself. And that frustration deregulates your nervous system. And guess what? When your nervous system is deregulated, you are not able to think clearly. When we are not able to think clearly, we feel more and more busy because we are spending time, but we are not producing the output that we are supposed to be producing. We are thinking about thing A while we get attracted to the thing B, and then the thing C comes on the way. And we think that we're multitasking. We tell ourselves, oh, yeah, I'm multitasking, whereas you actually are not doing any of them, and you're very busy, and your family doesn't see you, and you're very focused on your business. But what is happening to the output?
So this is something that you help your clients with.
Absolutely, because I have been a victim of it myself, and I still am a victim of it myself. I can still tell you how many apps or platforms I paid for last year that sounded interesting. And sometimes when I up in the middle of the night, I'm like, oh, by the way, I never used that thing. And I was still paying for it. So I'm guilty as charged. But over the years, I have learned, and I help people to learn how you can minimize this distraction so you can have more focused attention. And with that focused attention is that where your energy will go, and where your energy goes is where you will generate output. Sounds very simple if you look at it from a physics perspective.
You were telling me earlier that you have written a book. What's your book about? And when are we going to be able to see this book?
Thanks for the question. So the book is about building this space, a structure, an ability in ourselves to get out of this train of business that is going at a very high speed so that we can examine, am I in the right direction? And we talk about what happens when we do not do that check-in, and also what is possible when we do that check-in. So it has a dark side to it, and it has a shiny side to it. And the book has very clear 3 different segments, so people do not get lost between what is the shiny side, what is the dark side, and what is the past that can help me with building this structure. The book, we are hoping to have it ready and available to the public by the end of the first quarter of 2026.
So tell me, how do we actually go beyond busy, and how does this inability to reframe that impact you in real life?
That's a really good question. And we can look at it from the perspective of reframing some of those mentalities that is really hardwired in us, maybe by our parents, maybe by the society, maybe by our dear selves. Always a lot of highly ambitious people have really high expectations of themselves. They do not need another person. They themselves are enough. So number one thing is that busy is not a badge of honor. It's actually a symptom of chronic urgency. So if you are seeing that you are tending to say, oh, I'm too busy, I'm busy, you might want to look into and examine that and see where is it that needs to change. So that's one thing. The other thing is that a lot of the business owners who are ambitious people are high achieving people who are running on adrenaline. Like they enjoy the rush that they get out of business. I'm being one of them. I am a recovering one of them, I would say. So another point to consider, to re-examine with ourselves. And the third thing to understand is a lot of people think that the opposite of being busy is doing nothing and going on a retreat and sit on top of a mountain and just stare at the horizon. That's a choice, but that is not the opposite of business. The opposite of business and doing less is actually doing from a regulated state, which gives you more focus and attention, which increases your output level. So I leave people with these kind of changes to consider in their thinking.
Thank you very much, Kathy. It's been lovely talking with you. I'll put Kathy's contact details under this episode so you can get in touch with her. And if anyone listening is running their own business and they'd like to get in touch with me to have a business strategy session and work out what you might be able to do to improve your business as opposed to your busyness, I'll put those contact details under this episode as well. Thank you very much, Kathy.
Thank you for having me, Christy.
You're welcome.
This has been Go Beyond Busy with Christine Abela. Today's conversation with Kathy Hadizadeh looked at why having a clear vision matters, why busyness is often a symptom rather than a solution, and how focused attention leads to better results in business. If you would like to see more conversations with business owners and experts who share practical ideas for running a business without constant chaos, visit gobeyondbusy.com. You will find more episodes there, along with articles and resources for business owners who want to grow their business, not their to-do list.